There are 3 companies seeking to be the first to get approved in a variety of indications. First up will probably be Novartis for pediatric ALL, and that data looks very good, and it's anticipated the FDA will rule on that in the next few months. But for large cell lymphoma, there's actually 3 companies working on this. Kite Pharmaceuticals, or Kite has the lead in the current, in terms of where the clinical trials are. They're using a CD28 costimulatory domain. It's a retrovirus to incorporate into the cells, and they're using an unmodified mixture of just T cells from the patient. The strengths of that approach is that they can generate a product quite quickly with a turnaround in around 17 days in their clinical trials, and they saw very good responses. Their primary endpoint was comparison to the SCHOLAR-1 trial, which was a historical a look at how patients did with refractory large cell lymphoma, which only showed an 8% CR rate and a 6.6-month median survival. And by the results from the Kite trial showed around a 80% response rate in many of those studies, and around 50% of patients having complete remissions. And of those complete remissions, many appeared durable in the 30 to 40% range at the 3 to 6 month range. So that's a CD28 costimulatory domain. Then Juno Therapeutics has a slightly different approach. It's based more on our approach at Fred Hutch, where we actually separate out 2 populations of cells and make 2 CAR T-cell populations, a CD4 population and a CD8 population, formulate that into a 1-to-1 mixture and give it back to the patient. And that's based on animal studies that suggest that if you use an equal mixture of 4s and 8s, it's better than if you use just 4s or just 8s. And if you're just using unselected populations from the patient, then it could be all varying degree of ratios. So Juno is using a defined mixture of CD4 and CD8 cells. They also have a 4-1BB, so they have a 4-1BB costimulatory domain, and it's using a lentivirus, so a little bit different from the Kite product. Those results also look very, very good. We just reported at the ICML and ASCO and as well, and again showing high response rates with around 50% complete remissions, and many of those appear durable, at least at the 3-month time period. If you try to compare toxicities across the 2, they're quite similar, although maybe the Juno product might have slightly lower severe CRS and neurotoxicity. Then third up is the Juliet trial, which was a Novartis product in lymphoma, and that's also a 4-1BB and a lentivirus, and it's gone into the unselected T-cell populations. And they're again showing results with 60% overall response and 40 to 50% CRs that appear to be durable. So quite very, very intriguing, very similar toxicities and response rates across the board, but very different products, and I think that time will tell whether there's any major differences. So far, they seem to work in almost any of the diseases that have CD19 expression. Obviously, they're being restricted early on into patients that have failed all other therapies. So the biggest unmet need is looking at patients with refractory large cell lymphoma, either primary refractory, early relapses after R-CHOP chemotherapy, or relapses after auto transplant. That population looks very active. Primary mediastinal large cell lymphoma, there's not as much experience, but there seems to be activity. And there seems to be activity in the transformed follicular lymphomas. So follicular lymphomas that have gone to diffuse large B-cell lymphoma appears to be very active as well.